State regime media, which calls itself Fox News, is crumbling on live TV as Donald Trump yet again folds to Iran before the expiration of the purported ceasefire in the war. Donald Trump talked a tough game. He said, Iran, if you don't agree to negotiate a deal with us in Islamabad, Pakistan, before the ceasefire expires, we're going to obliterate your bridges and your infrastructure, and we really mean it this time. And Iran responded, we're not going to negotiate with you in Islamabad, Pakistan, if you continue to threaten us and you continue to have a naval blockade in the Persian Gulf. Stop threatening us, remove the naval blockade, and we're happy to negotiate in Islamabad, Pakistan. Donald Trump refused to do those things. Iran refused to show up in Islamabad, Pakistan. Air Force Two was loaded and ready to go with J.D. Vance and Witkoff and Kushner. And then Pakistan said, yeah, Iran really meant it. They're not going to show up while you have the naval blockade and while you keep on threatening them. So are you going to change your position, Donald Trump and your regime? And are you going to agree to the 10-point negotiating framework? And Trump was like, no. And then Pakistan said, okay, that Iran isn't showing up. So that's why Iran didn't show up, and Donald Trump had a choice. Donald Trump then could escalate, or Donald Trump could do what Donald Trump does, which is extend the ceasefire, or Donald Trump could just give up. So Donald Trump says that he's extending the ceasefire indefinitely, and Trump makes up that the reason he's doing it is because there's no more leadership in Iran, and they're in such disarray, and nobody knows who's running Iran anymore, and therefore the United States is waiting for a counter proposal by Iran, and that's why Trump says, I am graciously agreeing to extend the ceasefire because that's what Pakistan wants me to do. And Iran's like, what are you talking about? We've given you a unified plan. It's called the 10-point framework, which you previously agreed to before the ceasefire started. So what does state regime media, which calls itself Fox, do? Because they've been talking up how tough Donald Trump is. They've been propagandizing their audience, as state regime media does, telling their Fox viewers, Donald Trump's got this one. He is involved in 4D chess, and he's got Iran right where he wants. And now if you've been watching the MeidasTouch network, where we've been focusing on the objective facts, you know that Donald Trump is just winging this, and that Donald Trump is lying about everything. And we've been just reporting on what's actually going on. But Fox viewers are like, wasn't Iran supposed to back down? How did dear leader Donald Trump not get Iran to do a deal? So again, state regime media, they have to figure out, like, what are we going to do? So they have Jesse Waters, who's basically their biggest clown, post the following, and he does this whole segment where he makes up a completely fictitious event that didn't happen at all. He says there's a coup underway in Iran. The Ayatollah is a gay man, Jesse Waters says, and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard just launched a coup against the gay Ayatollah. He's locked up. All of the civilian leadership is locked up with the gay Ayatollah, Waters says. And now the Islamic Revolutionary Guard refuses to negotiate. It's their fault. And so right here we have a hostage crisis in Iran, and that's what's happening right now. And Donald Trump did 4-dimensional chess. And now Xi Jinping of China is so scared because Xi Jinping is losing all of his friends. So China is weaker. North Korea is weaker. Russia is weaker. This was such a brilliant move by Donald Trump, folks. Everything that Jesse Waters says is just a completely fabricated lie. As you've been watching, because you've been watching this network, Iran's been very consistent about the 10-point framework. Donald Trump posted before the ceasefire started, he agrees with the 10-point framework. Whether you like the framework or not, it doesn't matter. Trump said he agreed to it. And every day, Donald Trump gives conflicting and contradictory messages where he'll say, I'm going to obliterate you. Let's make a deal. We don't need the Strait of Hormuz. We need the Strait of Hormuz. Get the F out of the Strait of Hormuz. I'm going to obliterate your civilization. Oh, I like the new leadership. They're not as extreme. The new leadership is so extreme. And we know from all of our reporting and the reporting of CNN and Wall Street Journal and New York Times and PBS and others that the top generals, that the top admirals, that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, that the NATO leaders are all looking at what Donald Trump's doing. They're like, you're making it literally impossible to do anything because you're erratic, you are addled, and your behavior is ridiculous. Now, here's what Jesse Waters posted. He goes, breaking. The Iranian guard just took the Ayatollah hostage. False. That never happened. This is 100% a lie. Generals are blocking peace talks, holding their own negotiators hostage while the economy collapses. 100% false. Iran's economy is struggling, of course, in the sense that they're involved in a war. They've been invaded, but there's no generals blocking peace talks, holding negotiators hostage. The economy's not about to collapse. There's struggle. They're in a war. Then it goes on to say, no one's calling the shots. A coup is in the works. Yeah, that's not true. He's making up a fake coup. And then he goes, U.S. warships stacking the region. One wrong move and it all ignites with all these like weird emojis. Everything about this is false. Everything about, and when you remember the discovery from the Dominion litigation, when state regime media, which calls itself Fox, was lying about the outcome of the 2020 election, they were sued by Dominion and had to settle for close to like $1 billion. The way they view their audience. Do you remember how the Fox host would talk about their audience as being stupid and easy to manipulate, right? It reminds me a little bit. Did you see that story in Wired where they talk about this person from India who created these AI images of like MAGA girls and these AI videos of like MAGA women? They weren't real. They were AI. And the person who was studying at a university in India is like, yeah, these people are just so stupid and they're so easy to manipulate. That's why I created this like MAGA AI girl and interact with all these like MAGA people and they give me all this money. In any event, this is what Jesse Waters is trying to do. So here he goes and starts to talk about the Ayatollah is a gay guy. Why is that even? Okay. And then there was a coup. Here's what he says. Play this clip.
Fox News alert, bridge and power plant day could now be any day of the week. A fierce power struggle breaking out in Iran. And President Trump showing a lot of patience. 47 says U.S. airstrikes have seriously fractured the regime, so Pakistan asked us to hold off on B&P Day until Iran can get it together. Tonight, there could be a coup. No one knows who's calling the shots. Vance, Witkoff, and Kushner were supposed to leave for Islamabad, but they never took off because the Iranian delegation never took off, which is suspicious because this morning, Trump said the gay Ayatollah authorized the deal.
Ever wake up sweaty, freezing, or just uncomfortable? The temperature in your bedroom can make or break your sleep. That's why I switched to Miracle Made sheets. They're inspired by NASA technology and use silver-infused temperature-regulating fabric to help you sleep perfectly all night long. Miracle Made sheets feel just as good, if not better, than sheets you'd find at a 5-star hotel, but without the steep price tag. Smooth, breathable, and ridiculously comfortable. Thanks to their antibacterial silver technology, Miracle Made sheets stay cleaner and fresher up to 3 times longer than regular sheets. That means fewer odors, fewer wash cycles, and way less laundry. All that hidden bacteria in regular sheets, it can clog your pores and cause breakouts. Miracle Made's antibacterial design helps you sleep cleaner and clearer night after night. Miracle Made sheets are crafted with NASA-inspired silver-infused fabric that helps regulate your body temperature. Hot sleeper, cold sleeper, it doesn't matter. These sheets help keep you in the comfort zone all night long. Upgrade your sleep or give the gift of better rest. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas to try Miracle Made sheets today. You'll save over 40%, and when you use the promo code Meidas, you'll get an extra 20% off plus a free 3-piece towel set. They make for an amazing gift, and with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. That's trymiracle.com/Meidas, code Meidas at checkout. Thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode.
Then he goes on with this fanciful tale about a coup taking place. Here, play this clip.
So the gay Ayatollah told his ministers wheels up, but the military said not so fast. We're basically looking at another Iranian hostage crisis. This time they've taken themselves hostage, and therefore the negotiations. The IRGC won't agree to sign over the Strait and the uranium, and they're the only votes that matter because they're the ones with the guns.
And then he says, and Donald Trump now has outsmarted Xi Jinping, and Xi Jinping no longer has friends. What are you talking about? China is stronger than ever as a result of this. Europe, Africa, Central America, South America, Mexico, Caribbean, Australia, they all view China as a more stable and rational actor than the United States. China has just kind of sat back, let America make mistakes. And of course, behind the scenes, China's helping Iran as well, or maybe not so behind the scenes. But what do you mean? Like, why are you, what is this doing? You're going to manipulate the viewer. I think you're losing a lot of audience. I think they realize you're lying. But anyway, here's what Waters says. Play this clip.
The blockade's ripple effect is hitting Beijing. Choke points are getting squeezed from the Gulf to the Strait of Malacca. It just so happens that we conducted joint naval exercises with the Japanese in the South China Sea. And the Army just finished up joint live fire training with the Philippines. Xi's losing friends fast. The president putting pressure on the Middle Kingdom to make its proxy give up the dust. Vance isn't flying halfway across the world to Pakistan for nothing.
And then Jesse Waters continues. Let me show you the final clip of what he says. Let's play it.
So the next round of airstrikes will be devastating if it happens. Hard to know exactly what's happening inside the ranks, but sources tell Primetime the military sidelined the mullahs and are keeping the gay Ayatollah alive as a figurehead while they assert control over negotiations. They basically have a gun to the head of the negotiators, and now everyone's afraid of getting killed, not just by the Americans, but by the Iranian military. It appears that there's already been somewhat of a soft military coup.
Then you have Caroline Levitt, and of course, she's got to lie. Here, play this clip.
Finally had the courage to do. Our military took out more than 13,000 targets. The Iranian Navy is in the bottom of the sea. We have completely depleted their air force, their military, their ability for their leaders to communicate with one another inside this radical regime. Yet the American media is still trying to say that the United States is in a worse off position than we were at the start of this, that Iran still poses a threat. It's all a bunch of nonsense. They are rooting against this president and therefore our country, and it's really despicable to watch. But the facts are the facts. President Trump has been the steady leader our country needs throughout this entire endeavor. And again, thanks to the success of the military operation and his hardline negotiating style, we're on the brink of a deal. And if not, the president as commander-in-chief still has a number of options at his disposal that he's unafraid to use. And President Trump has proven before he does not bluff. When he makes a promise, he follows through on it. And I'm not sure why, after 10 years of covering this president, the American media still cannot understand when President Trump says he's going to do something, he's going to do it.
So what's really happening? Again, as I mentioned at the outset, Iran says they have no interest in negotiating with Donald Trump until there's no naval blockade and until he agrees to the 10-point framework. Here are some alerts coming out of Iran in the Reuters wire. Trump's ceasefire, this is what Iran's leadership said. Trump's ceasefire extension means nothing. The losing side cannot dictate terms, advisor to Iran's parliament speaker, MB Ghalibaf said. And based on Jesse Waters' lie, this is one of the people who are now locked up as part of the coup. Continuation of the blockade is no different from bombardment and must be met with a military response. Advisor to Iran's parliament speaker says, Trump's ceasefire extension is certainly a ploy to buy time for a surprise strike. Iran must take initiative. And again, an advisor to Iran's parliament speaker says. Also, Iran's foreign minister Araghchi posted the following message. Blockading Iranian ports is an act of war and thus a violation of the ceasefire. Striking a commercial vessel and taking its crew hostage is an even greater violation. Iran knows how to neutralize restrictions, how to defend its interests, and how to resist bullying. Iran's Tasnim regime media says the following. Continuation of a naval blockade amounts to continued hostility. As long as the blockade persists, Iran will at least not reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and if necessary, it will end the blockade by force. Also, you have the Fars news agency in Iran. It's reposting what Ron Filipkowski from the MeidasTouch network, our editor-in-chief, writes. Our editor-in-chief goes, I'm sure Trump has put the U.S. in a very strong bargaining position by issuing 2 ultimatums with hard deadlines, only to back down both times after Iran called his bluff. 4D chess from the cult leader. And then Iran's media company commented on what our editor-in-chief Ron Filipkowski said. And here's what Iran's media company says. American analysts' irony to Trump. By backing down against Iran, you increased America's bargaining power. Iran has played its hand, putting America in a very powerful bargaining position. What a complex strategy from this cult leader. And they're citing Ron, who's mocking Donald Trump here. And then, of course, state regime media, known as Fox, they need to try to change the topic. So they bring in Sean Duffy, and Sean Duffy says the following. Here, play this clip.
It's like the technology is advancing. You're also trying to dress up the friendly skies, right? Telling people don't wear sweatpants to the airport.
Yes, Sandra, and you set the bar. You dress very well, and so look at what Sandra Smith wears, and like that's what you should wear to the airport. Maybe John, no more sweatpants at the airport, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Good to talk to you, Mr. Secretary. We also look forward to what the FAA has to say about what happened at Nashville, that near collision between two Southwest jets over the weekend. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. We appreciate you as always.
New Midas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.